everybody, it's Christine. Let's dive into a new layout for Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. Today I am going to show you how to add a shaker element to a scrapbook layout. I am using a page kit from the scrap room this month. Although this month is just about over, I am using one more page kit from the July kit, and this one is some Cartabella beach summer pool themed stuff. So I am cutting out this little piece from a cut apart piece on this patterned paper. I liked it. I like what it says. I wanted to use it as part of my layout and as a big part of my layout, because really it was the basis and jump off point for my whole design, and it just says you can never have too much beach time. So I am adding that to this blue background paper, and then I am going to go ahead and cut out another sheet of white cardstock that coordinates pretty well with that, and I'm going to create kind of a similar look on the opposite side. Basically, I want to carry over the wavy design to the other side of my photos. So I just matched it up with some cardstock that I thought would work well, and you know, there's definitely a difference in the color. You can see that on camera even, but once I get the pictures in between, it won't be as big of a deal. I am gonna then cut out some wavy looking striped paper. That's a great description right there. I just used the full length across, and you can see I just want to tuck it underneath those sheets there, and so I'm going to do that on both the top and the bottom. And this is more pattern paper from the kit. Really pretty colors, bright, fun, and will work really well with this beach themed page. And I'm just taking my scissors right now and distressing the bottom of it just to rough it up and add a little bit of texture to the whole thing. The background paper is just that pretty blue. It's meant to look like pool, like the bottom of a pool. And it works really nicely for a background just because it's very simple, not too busy, monochromatic. It's got a lot of just a little. It's got a little bit of added detail to it without just being plain cardstock. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is add on my pictures. And you've seen me using the Easy Runner Grand already to secure my other strips. Now I'm going to use some crafty foam tape just to pop the pictures up a little bit, because I want some dimension there in the middle and I don't want them to get buried. I'm also going to be using some elements with additional dimension, and so I want to make sure that my pictures are really not getting buried below the surface, if you know what I mean. I don't want them to be overshadowed by the embellishments too much. Now I'm going to take my circle cutter and I am going to just trim out a partial circle here on the layout. Now this was a little bit gutsy. I knew that this might not work and I might have to start again, but in the end, the good news is it did work, and so I was able to roll with it. So what you can see there is the beginning of my shaker element. So I have cut out that partial circle, and then I'm going to use my Easy Runner Grand to give some adhesive on the front side of the shaker there. I am going to pull off my shaker, which has adhesive on the back side, and secure it to this yellow cardstock and just cut along that. Now I could stick the yellow cardstock inside as well, but I did need to remove the adhesive element of the shaker, so I just decided to put it on the back side rather than have an envelope very stuffed. And then I just added glitter on and closed it up, and that's it. Very simple, very easy to do. These keepsake envelopes, they come in a variety pack, so you've got different size options, and they just work great for this kind of thing. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to just cut out some small strips of yellow cardstock. I'm actually not measuring here. I'm just eyeballing it because they're so thin. And I'm going to use these to create some sun rays. And I'm just going to use my dual tip glue pen, which has a smaller side and a wider side. And I'm going to just add those on. And this is just a nice adhesive to have for a pretty quick dry, and when you don't have anything small enough to use on there, like a Easy Runner, there's many, many times when I just need a tiny little drip of glue, and this adhesive is perfect for that. Now, time to embellish. I am adding on some chipboard pieces, and I am going to shift those all around and kind of decide where I want my visual triangle to be. You can see I've got that umbrella there. That's a really good start. I'm happy with that. And then I pulled off some other elements. Some of the elements on this chipboard sheet just aren't going to work for this layout, so I'm somewhat limited in my choices. And there's a whole other set of embellishments that came with this kit that I could not locate, so I super duper limited myself because my scrapbooking room is a mess. So I'm only working with one set of embellishments instead of the full kit and the embellishment kit today. Now, these ones are chipboard, and so, like I said earlier, they have extra dimension, and I don't want my picture to get buried. So I am going to go ahead and use some 3D foam squares to pop those up a little bit, simply because I'm afraid otherwise they're going to drag the picture down. And so I'm using that on a few of them, not all of them necessarily, but especially the ones that are adjacent to the picture. I am just adding either a small or a regular size 3D foam square so that they pop up a little bit. And it just adds a little bit of adhesive strength as well, because these chipboard pieces are self-adhesive, but they could use a little more strength. They're heavy pieces, and I know that the 3D foam squares will keep them on there well. So now we've got the basic embellishing done. Now I'm going to go a little bit crazy here again and do something gutsy. And I am going to add some white gesso in between my rays. I was just looking to add something extra. It was still missing something, definitely. And so I decided some gesso would be a good way to go and just add some pretty white and messy in between the rays. So I am using some white gesso, and I'm just using a paintbrush to get it on there, and then I'm using my fingers to smash it down and spread it out and all those things. There's no technique here whatsoever, other than being careful not to get it on other things. Again, this is something that would be smart to do ahead of time. My brain was just not rolling this day ahead of time. It was rolling in the moment. And so when it does that, you work with it and you have fun with it. So I am just gonna do all of that, and then finally I will just let it dry. You can see I didn't go all over the layout. I kind of stuck within the rays, so it would look a little bit like either, you know, clouds or like the rays were spreading. Either one. I think people's eyes will probably go in both directions. And this is messy, although not the messiest thing I've done lately. It cleans up pretty easily off of your fingers, and is a pretty quick and simple way to add some white mixed media to your layout. Now, last thing I'm going to do is I am going to add it on to a background paper, and that is going to just change it a little bit. I'm going to only do it so that it has a white border on the right hand side and the bottom, and that is it. So thank you so much for being here today. I have got more details on this layout over on the Scrapbook Adhesives blog, so you can check things out over there, and we will see you again soon.